For that, and here to discuss the effects of trauma and how the insurrection has impacted a lot of us, psychotherapist and PTSD expert Dr. Lisa Palmer. Dr. Palmer, I know you just watched that piece that Rachel Scott brought to us, and you heard the trauma. You could feel it, really. They're still hopeful, but they're still trying to get past that day. What is PTSD, and what are its effects on people?
Well, one way I like to describe it is that, you can throw away the book, but not the memory of the book. So unfortunately, when somebody experiences trauma, it can last a lifetime for them, and they have a bunch of different side effects: anxiety, depression, flashback memories, body memories, and oftentimes, especially in this scenario, feelings of being trapped, feelings of being unsafe. And so they can feel triggered often in their everyday life.
And Lisa, we just heard those stories from the people who were actually there and so traumatized by that. But so many other people watched it, were not there, and still are experiencing those same features of PTSD. So explain how that can happen to someone who wasn't even present at the actual traumatic event itself.
Right. So like a secondary exposure, they're seeing this. Our brains can't really tell the difference between what is real and what is unreal. So when you're watching television and you're experiencing those emotions, that can be triggering something in you. And a lot of viewers also have their own trauma. Let's not forget that 7.5 million people suffer from PTSD. So when they're seeing something on television that's triggering an emotion in them, they may be thinking about their own trauma subconsciously, bringing up feelings of anxiety and fears, and that can affect their sleep and affect their life.
Dr. Palmer, PTSD, is this something that needs to be recognized and officially diagnosed, if you will, by a professional? And can you deal with it on your own in some way and cope? Or is that something also you need some real and professional help with?
All really good questions. In fact, a lot of people suffer from PTSD on different levels. In this particular case with the Capitol attack, we can see that is something very extreme, but people suffer from PTSD all the time, and it's affecting them in a bunch of different ways. And it's unfortunately not something that you can will yourself to change, because your brain actually processes this trauma memory different than regular memory when you're in this mode of survival. And unfortunately, people get sort of locked into the emotions of the trauma that's happening at that time. So they can be growing older and living different life experiences, but still their brain is pairing their current experiences with experiences of the past. So it makes it very difficult to change, but it's something that if you get the right therapeutic help for, you can actually change that and transform your life.
What does that look like, therapeutic help?
So there's different forms of therapy. I mean, my particular way of going about this is I work on changing core belief systems, because when trauma happens, your brain, like I said, processes that memory differently. So emotion is stored in one part of the brain, oftentimes that negative emotion, which we have to clear, and negative core belief is also formed. So in this case, feelings of being unsafe, insecure, inability to trust. So there's different methods that we have to change core belief systems, as well as changing the coding of the way that your brain is processing the emotions, which we can actually clear and change some of the emotions in a memory, then store that memory differently from short-term memory, where it's stored when the trauma happens, to long-term memory once the memory is rewritten. It's coding.
All right. Well, it's remarkable that a lot of people are going through things as a result of what happened a year ago who weren't there, and we don't even realize maybe. So this is an important conversation, important to get this out. Dr. Lisa Palmer, thank you so much for your time and your help in bringing this to light.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Well, up next, right here on GMA3, folks, we got some final thoughts from that young lady, Dr. Ashton.
All part of our special coverage of the one-year anniversary of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. GMA3 will be right back.